Well, hi there. My name is Kelly Cameron of Kelly's Color Studio, and I want to show you today what I'm going to do with one of my 3 stencil designs that have recently been submitted and approved by StencilGirl. This one is called O Velocity, and it's a 9x12. And I've discovered a new technique for me that I love to use because I'm a collage artist, and I want to show you how to go about getting this done. And you can use different kinds of paint. The Deco Art Americana is one of my favorite craft paints. It certainly has its place. I think if you're going to use this, you shouldn't use it too thick of an application, because if it's left on your paper or canvas and it's too thick, it can actually crack and pop off because it's mostly water. Now, artist acrylics, like I like to use Holbein, which is crazy expensive for this kind of thing, you know, but it's what I like. So it's my thing. This is my treat to myself, using the Holbein to print with. I use Holbein heavy medium or heavy body, and I use Holbein matte acrylics. This is also my paint of choice for just paint work. But I have an idea today what I'd like to do and what colors I'd like to bring. And I want to start with, I want to use this Prussian blue, and I want to put some, I want to mix the blue with this is an aqua sky, together on my plate. Now my plate looks like it does because I did a demo last night, and I still have, I didn't clean my plate, which is fine. To me, this stuff, the next time I print, it'll come up and it'll give me some gorgeous piece of paper a little later on. But I'm gonna mix these together on my plate, and my jelly plate, and I want to see what we get. Can't wait to show you. What I'm gonna be doing is printing on tissue paper. That's right, tissue paper, not just regular, any old regular tissue paper, but I'm going to print on Spectra bleeding tissue paper, which means when it gets wet, as you apply mediums to it, to collage or whatever, it's going to run. The colors will bleed and run. So first I'm going to print on tissue paper, and then I want to show you how to collage with these images that you get. So here's O Velocity. There's a little story behind that, and I'll share that with you. Now this is the bleeding tissue paper. It's very, oh, they come in the most beautiful colors. And I'm just going to square this off and put it right there. And as you can see, it's very thin, so the paint comes through. If I rub this with my hand, sure enough, I'll have a blue hand. So I'm just going to, whoops, that's the wrong paper. Let me get a regular piece of cardstock here. It doesn't want to come. Okay, let's try this again. Here we go. All right. Put this down. I'm just going to rub on this paper here. You notice I inked up my other block. I'm letting that blue sit. I just want to let that, this is just my extra for fun. This is where I roll my brayer when I have excess paint, and I'm going to make some fun little side pieces there. Okay, so I'm going to pull this up, hopefully so you can see it. Is that not just beautiful? Can you see that? Wow. Okay. Now I'm going to set this aside to dry. Hope that my fan doesn't take it away. I'll have to put something on it. There we go. I do have a ceiling fan on, and it's sort of tricky. Okay. Here's a little piece of baby blue. I want to pull this up quickly. And while this is wet, I'm going to put a little baby blue down here. And let's see. Grab another little piece of something here. What do I have handy? Here's a little piece of yellow. Let's put this here and see what we can capture of this before it dries up. I do need to turn my fan down. It is tricky working with tissue paper with the fan on high. I'm going to do that now while we're speaking. There we go. Thank goodness for remotes. Okay, that should be good. Let's see what we get here. Oh yeah, we got a nice pull there. The blue looks really good on the yellow as well. That's great. Okay, let's pull this up. And if you leave it too long, you could tear your paper, so be careful. Be forewarned of that. Yeah. Oh, this is just beautiful. Is it not? This will make for some really great collage materials later on. I can't wait to show you. Okay, now we have, well, we have this. Okay, so I want to show you a fun little thing that I do. I want to print this one on pink, but I am also going to, now I'm going to roll this with gold. And I have the, where is it? I have the whole bind. It's in a tube. Here we go. It's hiding from me. Okay. So this is pretty dry. So I'm going to put a little of this gold on here. Again, there are more affordable alternatives. This is just what I choose. It's one of my favorites. Apply that very thinly. That's beautiful. Put some there too. Okay. Now the image from the stencil is down there. So when I put this down, I should get a nice, I should get a really great print off of this. This should be really great. And I didn't have to use the piece of paper because this is not that wet. Just a very thin coat of gold I put on there. Okay, let's pull this. Oh yeah. Look how beautiful. A little bit of that pink coming through. The gold and the blue shimmering together. It almost looks like a bronze, doesn't it? Oh, that's beautiful. Okay, so now I'm going to set this aside. Let it dry. I'm getting a nice selection of tissue paper prints, and they are drying quickly. So I should be able to get in here and, you know, do something else here soon. Like, I should be able to keep going without having to worry about my stack. Sorry, it's hard to do 4 things at once. Okay, so now I want to use all the great stuff I have on the little pad, and I'm just going to brayer some of this blue on here. More with the blues. And this has there's 2 ways you can go about this. I'm going to show you 2 angles for this. I've rolled it. My plate's clean over here. So I'm going to put this here. And I'm going to print all the way across here. Look at there. 2 for 1. How about that? That's getting a lot of bang for your buck, right? Okay. It's a little faint, but that's okay. And of course, there's little to no print on here. But here's the other one. Oh yeah. Look at that. Wow. That's really nice. See there? That's a keeper. Love those bits of orange coming through. Okay. So now, I think I'm going to put a little bit of light green on this. We're going to transition from the reds and the pinks and the blues and the purples and go from that to blue and green. And this will have a little blue on it still. I could roll that over here. I can, you know, we can do anything with that we want, but I think this green's going to be awesome. You notice I'm not putting much on there. Okay, now this will go on my yellow paper. How great will this be? Oh, maybe should have used the paper. Now my hands are getting colored. That's okay. Let's see if this pulls up that design. Oh, it did. Okay. And it looks like I can get another. I'm going to hit this with some gold again. Okay. So you just keep going and it just keeps getting better and better. And then when you're done, you've got this great stack of papers, and collaging is just the bomb. And I'm going quickly because I didn't put much on there, and it is drying quickly. So let's do this on yellow again. Number one, because it'll look good. And number two, because it's in close proximity. Just makes it that much easier. Okay, I still got a good pull off of that. Oh, now that gold is there. How pretty. Okay, I'm still liking this. There's still some really good stuff going there. So what I'm going to do is take a piece of this. Now I'm wanting the Bristol vellum, and I can't get it to come. Everybody's confused today. Okay, so just a second to regroup. Let's move these so they can be drying under the fan. Beautiful. Just beautiful. All right. Now, I want to do something with this. And I'm thinking gold again, only this time with paper instead of tissue paper, because the paper will more than likely clean that really well. It's thirstier than the tissue paper, so it'll pull it all up, I think. Should have a clean plate after this. All right. Oh, this works. We can get a nice half. There we go. Bristol vellum is very thirsty, and it's great to pull with. Ooh, I got a nice pull, and there's still good stuff on there. Look at that. It's really great. So I'm going to try for another. This time I'm going to put let's put some bright red on there. Let's just see what we get, okay? Now this is Liquitex Basics. I'm just using up paint. I'm using up what I've got. There we go. It's all smooth. Not too many lines. Let's try again. Let's see what we get. And in just a second, we're going to get ready to collage with this tissue paper. Oh, it's very wet. Okay, I'll have to come back and do something over this. But that's okay, because this is my second chance. Here we go. Let's try it now. You just never know, do you? That's the fun of this. It's sort of like unloading a kiln. It's like Christmas. It might be great. It might be terrible. You'll either love or hate it, I promise. Doesn't seem to be any middle ground. Very nice. Now this to me is a success. I love papers like this that have that old wallpaper or maybe an oriental look to them. Love it. This is still just great right there. I'll get back to that later. I'll stop printing here, and I'm going to move these goodies out of the way. Okay. And I'm going to really quickly, if I can find my stencil, here it is, I'm going to throw it in a tub of water that I have. Because if I leave it sitting out to dry, pretty soon it's going to be hard to clean. Not that hard, but you know, okay. So here is some Bristol vellum. And I'll tell you what, this is some top secret high dollar stuff right here. This is glue and water. Glue and H2O. So it's just done. Oh, got a mess here. Pardon my mess. This stuff is just in a jar here, and I've mixed enough water with glue to make it the consistency of, oh, a little bit runnier than maybe pancake syrup. And you know what? I've done tests with this stuff and other mediums to see what is best to collage with, and for me, glue and water is the bomb. It's just the bomb. Now to collage, I'll say all this just in case, maybe, just in case somebody doesn't know. It's sort of like a sandwich. So a sandwich is, for instance, a peanut butter sandwich would be bread, peanut butter, and bread, right? 3 layers. Well, collaging is much like that. It's the first bit of the first bit of glue that you put down is the first piece of bread. So there's your first pass. Now I'm going to start with this pink paper here. So the first bit of glue is like your first piece of bread. I'm going to do everything in 3 steps. So this is the first layer, covering it everywhere. Okay. I'm going to tear a piece of this, and tissue paper likes to be torn. It's kind of like newspaper. It tears real well one way or the other, but not necessarily crossways. If it tears well one way, it probably won't tear well the other. You know, like when you're tearing newsprint. So the paper that I put down, the tissue paper, was like our peanut butter in our sandwich, right? Okay, so this is the beauty of bleeding tissue paper. Look what it does. The pink is actually running into the glue. You see that? So I'm getting some transfer of the pink color to my paper. So you can almost use that to shade and things, and to get a tone or a shadow or whatever. And you can count on that with the bleeding tissue paper. Now this will make my brush pink, so when I dip in and pull it out, I'm not going to drag it on my jar, because if I do that, this pink glue will run down into my jar and make my glue colored. Then when I use yellow or something, I'll be highly disappointed. So now let's talk about what we're going to put on here next. And I have this little piece that we did that has the blue. It's very lovely. I think this would be nice with this. Whoops! It's very sticky. Why don't I cut the tissue paper? Well, I'm so glad you asked. I don't cut it necessarily because I like the more organic edges. And I also, I think if I'm cutting tissue paper, I'm being a little too precise. And then I get in this mode of not relaxing and enjoying the process. It gets to be like, oh, I have to have it cut just, you know, and it takes too long. It's easier just to tear it. Okay. So I'm going to put some glue and water right here. This high dollar, top secret stuff. Right. And I'm going to just put this here. And I don't have a plan other than my colors. I am thinking about my colors, but I'm not really you know, being very precise, because this paper is not going to be a painting per se. It's going to be something that I will use later on in a collage, some other thing that I make. So this will be a component in another piece of work. Okay, let me get to another piece, and let's see here. I'm trying to find a piece that I know will bleed really well. Here we go. When I say that, I mean some pieces, some colors of tissue paper have a little bit more dye in them, or they're a darker, deeper color, so they're going to quote-unquote bleed a little bit more. I want to show you a technique that I discovered last night, rather serendipitously, that I think is amazing. Okay, so we know that, because I've just told you, you know that this yellow is going to run a little bit. And even if I put, let me show you this, piece of orange in here, watch this. As soon as that sort of settles in and gets that wet, see the orange going into the yellow and into the pink? That orange is really going all over. See that? That's a really neat effect, isn't it? Okay, so we know the tissue paper bleeds and runs. Now, we also know that this is acrylic paint, and it should not bleed and run, right? So watch this. This is two different little techniques here. One leads to the other in a way. So if I were to lay this down, say right here, Okay, and then I'm going to hold on to one corner and I'm going to sort of paint this down. Okay, I'm going to wait just a second and then I'm going to pull this up. And do you see how this kind of prints there? See how it leaves its ink behind? And you can make designs. Now I'm doing it sort of quickly in a haphazard manner, just so you can kind of see what the ink does, the transfer does. But now I'm going to put this down, face down, and I want you to see what happens to this area. Let me make sure there's enough glue down here. Because this to me was really cool. And like I said, I discovered it quite by accident last night. Okay, I'm going to put this down. Now it's face down. So this is the side my ink print is on. I'm not going to leave this on here. Okay? I'm going to print with it. What's going to happen here is that my tissue paper is going to transfer its color. However, where my design is, where my paint is, it will not. So that means when I lift this up, hopefully, I only did it twice last night, first time ever. So see, look at the pink going, ooh, is that pretty? Ooh, it goes into the orange, I love it. But I've got this edge here. Now when I pull this up, I'm just gonna rub it one more time. You don't wanna rub it to death because it will tear, okay? And that's a really pink brush, so I don't wanna put it in my glue. All right, I'm gonna pull this up. Hopefully. Okay, it tore, but look. See that design? Now, if I'm careful, I can save this and put it on something else. I might even just leave that there. I don't know. If I can't get this up, it's all right. I might leave it. I might leave it. It's pretty there anyway. But now I can take this and turn this around, and I can put it even on another. You grab another paper. I can even put it on this paper and use it for another piece. And I didn't have to put glue under it because it is so wet. And it's okay if these wrinkles and things are here, because this is what you'll do. Right away, just wet it. Just to make sure it's down. And the next time you come back to add to it, it'll be there. Wrinkles too. If you get too big of a piece of this that has, like, this has a big blob, just get your hands in there and just pull it off. It's okay. No biggie. You want it thin enough that you can cut through it with scissors if you want to, because especially if you're going to collage with this later. Okay? And that's not wasted. We used it to print with. Isn't that beautiful? And there's no paper right there. That's glue and paint and water and dye. How about that? Now, the more glue and water you put down, for instance, here on this edge, the more glue and water I put right here, the less defined this edge will be as it dries. So if you want your edges to look milky and watery, and like you don't want to be able to tell where your edge is with this, put lots on it and let it dry. That's really fun to know. Like here where I don't have much glue and water, it's a very defined edge, okay? And I will show you the piece I did last night as an example. Here's one, and this is what it looks like today. It's dried overnight, and the glue and water is so cool because look, it's glossy. It's this sort of a satiny finish, and this is certainly of a thickness that I can cut with scissors or I can embellish with other things. And look at these colors. Oh my gosh. And you layer the tissue papers and they're translucent, so they come through. See how this one's coming through where the blue ink was put down? Isn't that great fun? Can't you think of 8 million things you can make with this? My wheels are spinning and my mind is just going crazy with, oh my gosh, I could do this and that. And I just want to print a bunch of these and then, you know, want to cut these out and make flower petals. Look at these colors. I want to do so much. So between these, and here's some prints that I made last night with my plate, with this stencil. Think of all the things that you could make. That's a sort of a, that's the kind of thing you feel like you need 3D glasses with, right? Here's a really rich navy and red and gold. This would be good for a card that needs to be sort of masculine. You could just put, like I would make this for my son and put his name across the front on a gold oval. That'd be pretty. So yeah, so these are some of the things you can do with the O velocity stencil. Some of these are not keepers. They're going to get printed over later, but most of them were successful and a lot of fun to boot. There's one. And I even went so far, I'll show you this before I go. I had a piece of Bristol vellum, and I painted it with a coat of Deco Art Americana buttermilk color. Look how beautiful that is. So I painted my paper with buttermilk, not the drink, but the paint. And then after it dried, I stenciled until I got this lovely, I used my O velocity stencil and got this design. Then I put this into a collage. And this is a painting. I just collaged that paper down onto a piece of, it's like a shower board, piece of wood. Anyway, then I painted a pink lady apple here to bring out these colors. And I thought this was really pretty, like background wallpaper. Thought that was kind of fun. So just to show you what you can do with your own O velocity stencil, I know I've had a lot of fun with this, and I hope you will too. Thanks for watching.